I'm Ana Victoria Torres, and this is Glossip Girls. Glossip is the pop culture, reality TV, and chisme that gives us a glow. Every week, we break down the stories everyone is talking about and decide whether they're a glow or if it's a no glow for me, dog. Today, we're talking about Summer House. Part two of the reunion just dropped, and there's a lot to unpack. Joining me is Daniela Cadena, content creator living in Paris and host of the podcast Clashists, a pod about embracing life's culture shocks one clash at a time. Bienvenida, Daniela.
Hola, gracias. I'm so excited to talk about Summer House. Es como que finally I can talk to someone and not just the internet.
I mean, it's especially we both live in France and the struggle is real. People are not tuning in. They're not tuning
No.
in. I'm talking to the walls, I'm talking to threads, I'm talking to my co-host Honais. It's hard. The struggle is real. I don't know how it's in Paris. I think you have even a little bit more, but it doesn't
I
seem
think
like it.
Paris, no, I mean, I think there is like a very small Bravo community because when I've posted on Instagram about Bravo stuff, there's like a few people that are like, wait, I watched too. And I'm like, should we all come together as a community? Like, I was like, I don't know. Should we do a meetup? Should we do like what? I don't know what we could do to get the entire community together. But Paris is better, but not amazing. London, I think, is the place
Oh
for
yeah.
Bravo fans in Europe.
They have Hey You, which is the
Yeah.
streaming platform that also creates a lot of activation. So there's a sense of community. People have
Yeah.
been watching for a long time, I feel. So London is where
I
it's
was
at.
hoping with that show that they try to do here in Paris, The Real Girlfriends of Paris, I was hoping that would like make it, I don't know, make the Bravo shows or like the reality TV world be more appealing to Parisians, but obviously that show was a big old flop, so it didn't really work. But yes,
I was watching and it flopped hard. And I was rooting for them. I was rooting for the girls, but no.
I didn't watch because I had just moved to Paris and it almost felt like, wait, is this Play About Us kind of vibe? And I was just like, it's too close to home. And so weirdly enough, I've met some of them in Paris, like socially. And I actually befriended one of them. And I was like, and I remember the moment I saw her, I clocked her. I was like, I know who you are. And like after a couple of times hanging out, like the third time we're like getting drunk by the sun, and she goes, yeah, I was part of a reality TV show. And I just turned to her and I go, I know. And I was like, tell me everything.
Who was it? Sorry, I missed it. Who
A-
was it? Which one?
Asia, the one that was I think she was like a chef on the show or like a something with cooking. That was like her storyline. But I do think she still works with food, but I think in the show it was more like she was trying to pursue a career as a chef or something like that. I didn't watch, so I'm not sure.
Oh no, she was like a kind of being like content creation sort of thing with the food world, something like that.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Yeah,
And I actually think that's what she does in real life. So that at least was
that
true.
tracked. I
But
like them. I like them. They were
yeah.
cute. I just think it didn't. I don't think they understood what was the assignment. Some of them, not necessarily because in a bad way. It's just that um, it's very hard when you're an expat. You're starting your life here, and you have to be so vulnerable. But also with the people that you're becoming friends, you have to bring the drama, and that's just very counterintuitive for when you're trying to create a community in a new place. So I think that's also very hard because these girls seem very fresh, like they were coming into France recently, most of
Yeah.
them. So like to immediately like start creating beef with the people that you're hanging out the most like 95% of the time when you don't have anybody else,
Yeah.
it's a hard dynamic. So I think it might have worked better with people that are a little bit more established here. And you
Well,
know
I
that, yeah,
no, no,
the gossip's there.
no, yeah, yeah. I think you're 100% right, but I think also the big issue is like they didn't really know each other. So they didn't have like a strong
Connections.
foundation. I mean, and this is what I heard through because I know like a few producers that worked like friends of friends that worked on the show. And through what she told me, it was like they didn't, I mean, they met obviously maybe once or twice, but they weren't friend. It wasn't like a
You
real
could
friend group.
tell. You could
And
tell.
so that's, I think exactly it's counterintuitive to be like, I'm just gonna have beef with this random girl that I've met twice in my life.
No.
But if you have a friendship with someone for like 10, 15 years and there's there's gonna be stuff that, there's gonna be fights and history with that person. So I think that was it. And I think also the other problem was like half of them didn't actually live here. Half of them were like trying to move here for the show. So I'm like, obviously you don't have, not that you don't have the real Parisian experience, but you don't actually, you live in New York and you spend 6 months out of the year in Paris. That doesn't make you a Parisian. Because if you
No.
don't go to the prefecture at least once every couple of years and you don't get humiliated by the French government, then you don't have the real, you don't have the right to call yourself a Parisian.
You
That's
don't
my
know what it's like for us, the people that have worked before you and that have been
exactly,
humiliated in a passive
exactly.
aggressive and sometimes just aggressive manner.
Exactly. So to me, I'm like, until you're crying because someone was mean to you at the prefecture, then you don't deserve to call yourself a Parisian, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I'm
Yeah.
not even Parisian. And I was like, people don't hang out in those places in Paris. I'm like, girl, like this is like where students go. I know that there's
But
production and it's hard to record, but they were going to spots that I was like, never in my life. People don't go to those places. Like that is tired. Like there were some spots that I was like, oh mama, no, this is tourist trap 101 here.
for
And
sure.
I don't even live in Paris, but I go and I've been enough to Paris that I'm like, no,
And you
no,
have a
no.
lot of friends that live in Paris. So, like, you have a real connection to Paris. But that's the other thing. I think a lot of the people that worked on the show, a lot of the producers weren't Parisian or had ever lived in Paris. So they were just kind of going in blind and going with whatever worked or whoever
Yeah.
gave them like the let them shoot there. And so yeah, I think there was like a lot of things. I do think there's still potential for a good reality TV in Paris, but I think that one just, you could tell they kind of just put it together quickly because they wanted to take advantage of like the Emily in Paris phenomenon. And
Vibe.
they're like, who cares? This girl sounds interesting. Put her in. Oh, this girl is rich, or her family has a nice house. Put her in. Oh, this girl, and I think that's kind of how they assemble the cast, and that's why it didn't work.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Mm.
I get it. So moving on to Summer House, we're going to be breaking
Yes.
down the biggest moments of this reunion, the messiest drama, deciding what gives us a glow, what like a bad skincare routine takes our glow away. Let's get into it. First, I want to know what's your Summer House relationship? Like, where did it start? I know you lived in New York, so does that play into it? Tell me all about it.
No, I actually started watching Summer House like recently. I think I'm gonna say like the pandemic time.
But that's
And
valid. You get a seat at the table. Now, people that started watching after Scamanda, I
no,
don't
no,
want to see
no.
you here. Get the f out.
No,
Okay.
I'm familiar with the history. I wasn't there from the beginning because I maybe actually probably watched the first episode because remember it was like a backdoor pilot with Vanderpump Rules
Vanderpump
with
Rules.
Stassi.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Sheena, Stasi, Steve Jobs, turtleneck bikini
famously.
style. Never
So
forget.
I remember watching that Vanderpump Rules episode and probably then that Summer House episode because it was like a connected thing. But then I remember being like, I don't know if I did live in New York, but I summered in the Hamptons. Like I went 2 or 3 times to the Hamptons, but I wasn't like a person that got a share house. I was like, this is not what I do. This is not the kind of New Yorkers I hang out with. And so I wasn't really, it wasn't a show that I was like, I can't wait to watch. And so that's why I never watched it when it aired. And then I think it was around the pandemic where we're like, obviously we have nothing else to do. And I kind of either rewatched every Bravo show I had watched or started getting into new franchises that I had never seen. And I think that's how I got into, or I can't remember if it was the pandemic or a little before, because I remember watching the first season Paige was on and Hannah, which I think was season 3.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
was
When
pre-pandemic for sure.
yes, yes, yes. When they come in, the Giggly Squad before they were
Exact.
the Giggly Squad. Yeah.
Yes. And so I remember watching. So I think I wasn't like a faithful watcher. And I think I watched the first season that I didn't even watch season 1 and 2. I just went straight with season 3 with that season. And then after that, I started watching regularly. If it was on, I would watch it. And I would say maybe it's been the past 3 seasons that I was like really, really into it. Where I was like, it's one of my shows. It became one of my shows. I think it took the place of Vanderpump Rules, to be honest with you, because
Absolutely.
yeah. And so to me, I would tell my friends who weren't watching, I was like, this is actually one of the best shows on TV. You need to watch it.
You need to watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
And
been
so yeah, that's my story with them.
yeah, no, I can totally relate. I think I started the season before the pandemic and it was a slow burn for a lot of fans of Summer House. I mean, I think the first two seasons weren't necessarily like, wow, a wildfire. Like it wasn't Real Housewives of Rhode Island kind of vibe, success. But it definitely caught on strongly and it's become one of the most popular shows. I think what's happened with this Amanda situation and the West and Amanda is that a lot of people saw Summer House as their comfort show and the people that they like and they actually enjoy, while Vanderpump Rule that had Scandal, we love to hate watch them. Like it's the people that you're like, wow, the drama, but I'm never going to be friends with Jax Taylor. I'm never going to be hanging out with Tom Sandoval. And Summer House people, though, and knowing at some point and all of that, and they're still reality TV stars, they were still a little bit more approachable and like more like cool and like, oh, let's hang out, and cool in an interesting way, you know, because they can be a bit cringy, but it's much more tame. So when this thing happened with West and Amanda, I was like, oh no, the masks are off. They're still nasty. They're nasty, just like the other ones.
Yeah, for sure. I think Vanderpump was an incredible show because it was
Amazing.
also pre-social media, like pre-social media being what it is today. So you actually got to see who these people were. Like this, they were not self-producing. They were not trying to be influencers. I mean, they were trying to be actors and they were trying to be famous, but they weren't trying to portray themselves in a way that wasn't them. And I think that's why the first, like, I would say like 5 seasons of Vanderpump Rules were the best television. That you can't write that television. Like no one
No.
can come up with a character like Stassi, for example, or no one can come
Stas
up
and
with like
Schroeder.
Ashina Shea. Like
Kirsten. I
these
mean,
people
suck a
are.
dick.
Do, I I recently rewatched Vanderpump Rules and I was like, at least the first 3 seasons were insanely good. We didn't know what we had in
Impeccable.
our hands. And I mean, Jax Taylor, the worst human alive, but God, is he good TV? And I never want to see him on TV again. But when he was on Vanderpump, I was like, before it got really dark, I mean, it was always dark, but I would say the first couple of seasons, it was dark, but it was manageable because it was like, okay, you cheated on your girlfriend. That's not cool, but like, it's not the worst
And
thing
it
you
was
could do.
still the 2010s. So we were still in a very
Pre-Me
toxic
Too.
haze ourselves. Yeah,
Yes,
we were also
100%.
drinking the
We're like,
Kool-Aid,
but he's hot. It's okay.
but she cheated on him. Yeah.
Stassi's
So
kind of a bitch. She deserved it. And but yeah, so I think what I liked about Vanderpump Rules, and when I rewatch it now, and I think this is something I heard Lara from Sexy Unique podcast said, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what she basically says. Like they made me feel better about myself. Like I have my
absolutely.
life together, and that's why the later seasons don't hit us hard because you're like, wait, they're buying houses. I don't like this.
Well, I don't want a house. Like,
You're
wait a
just
minute. They're
like they're
successful, Jack.
successful. I don't want that. I want
Like,
to see
I
you
don't want to see Jax
miserable.
Taylor. Thank God that all this stuff came out about him and that he's not paying his taxes. And I'm like, okay, I can breathe
Thank
again. Oh my
God.
God. Thank
Yeah.
God. Because I was
So
like, what?
yeah, and I
Okay.
think that's why Vanderpump was like incredible too, because like they were entertaining, but also something about them made me feel like, okay, well, my life isn't that bad, or I'm not as cringe. And I think with Summer House, we've never gotten to that point. Like, there's maybe some seasons that some people had bad seasons, or this person isn't looking good, or whatever. But none of them were like horrible to the point that you were like, wow, your life sucks and I'm actually doing great. Whereas I think every single person on Vanderpump Rules made me feel that way at least once. I'm like, wow, that's pathetic. I would never do that.
I,
Thank God.
till this day, I'm like, I'm at least I'm not like in a marriage like Katie and Tom, you know? It's like, oh,
Oh my God. I
that was
forgot.
rough.
I forgot. There's so many like bad, not bad people, because I don't think they're bad. They're just like, there were so many cringe, horrible moments for all of them. I even forgot about Katie and Tom. That's how bad it is.
Woo. I
I
mean,
know.
never forget Katie's hairstyle and hair color. And every time I'm like, you know
Season
what? At least
two.
I don't have that
God. I know. That
orange.
was that was so and she was like, "I have a beauty blog." And I'm like, "You sure you want to say that?" Cuz I don't know. With that
I
hair.
remember the beauty blog and I remember watching the season and I'm like, is this still alive? Is it still happening? The blog,
I would
like going to check
say
and it
yeah.
was dead.
Yeah, it's so funny because a lot of them it's really interesting to see who turns the reality TV like fame into a career, because you see like Stassi Schroeder, who, she's very problematic in her own ways, but whatever you think about her, she took that opportunity and turned it into a business. And then you see the other people who like try to do that but failed. It's really interesting to see when you have a
Lala.
full cast of people. Yeah, like a full cast of people take their platform and either just kind of not do anything with it or turn it into a business out. So it's really interesting to see who's going to be. I'm kind of looking at that right now with I'm watching Southern Hospitality and
Oh,
I'm
I
like
mean, obsessed.
incredible TV. That's like the
Obsessed.
best. That's to me the best show on TV right now. And so when you
Joe
see that
Bradley
cast,
not doing anything with his career and his platform.
but that's what I'm saying. I'm like you see this cast of people like all young, like early mid 20s. Well, Joe is 30, but whatever. Like, and you're like, who's gonna take this opportunity and actually make something off it, or and who's just gonna be here for the ride? And so it's super interesting because they're kind of at the beginning of it, and obviously Vanderpump, they're at the end. That's done. So it's really interesting to see them at the beginning and see what they're gonna do with that and how they're gonna monetize and use the
I
platform
think
for a career.
the mistake with Vanderpump, and to close this before we get into Summer House, the mistake with Vanderpump Rules in terms of producers, Alex Baskin and all of that, was that they didn't lean in into that facet of them as creators, content creators, and brands and all of that. Instead, they wanted to sell this idea that they were still at the restaurant when nobody was buying that. And it's like they should have completely leaning into the transition of
100%,
then
yeah.
becoming, influencers and the conflicting ideas that they had about, oh, I'm not doing this, I'm not posting this because it doesn't go with my
100%.
brand, and Lala pivoting from being a hostess and I have a music career to I have give them Lala and rebranding it 500 times and it doesn't have identity, and like Sheena Shea with her podcast. That's where they dropped the ball, and I
I
hope
agree.
that other hospitality doesn't make the same mistake, because we don't care about Lisa or Leva in this situation. We care about these people's life, the connection that they have, what they're doing, and their actual lives. Not
Yeah.
that they are busting tables and making like pumptinis,
And there's something really interesting about talking about that facet of your life of like I went from being a broke server to all of a sudden being an influencer who gets all these deals, or and like kind of because even towards the end, I mean, Ariana said this during Scandal, but like it's nothing that it ever came out on the show where she was saying that she was actually broke when Scandal happened, and she was like emailing her agents and being like, hey, like something has to change. I need more work. Like I'm down to my last couple $1,000s in the bank. And to me, I'm like, okay, I'm not saying you have to air that out, but I want to hear about like, yeah, what's the next step? You don't want to go back to buzzing tables and serving and kind of being stuck between the two worlds where like, yeah, I'm sort of famous, but I'm not making enough money to sustain that.
Yeah.
Like that struggle of the in between is super interesting. And even the struggle of being like, potentially putting, I know they tried to do that on season, I think it was season 9, where they tried to put in like the younger servers to join the
Oof,
cast and that didn't work.
horrible decision.
But maybe something, yeah, like maybe it's Sheena doing like an appearance at Sir and kind of saying how she's kind of jealous of the younger waitresses because I don't know, like I just feel like there's some tension about kind of being a has-been, which I don't think they are, but like feeling that way, like I'm not on TV anymore, I'm not the star of the show, I'm not in my early 20s, and like the struggle of the in between, like I'm not like a famous Hollywood actress, but I do have a platform and I do have a million followers on Instagram. I don't know. I think there's something interesting there. I think at one point there was also some sort of tension between Sheena and I think it was Stassi Stassi was the first person to get 1 million followers on Instagram, and Sheena was
Yeah.
like jealous of it. Like that's the kind of shit that I'm like, I want to hear that. I want to hear how
And
you're jealous of
also
Stassi.
later on, Sheena and Ariana were not having issues because of the scandal. They were having issue because Ariana was getting all the brand deals and she was going
Yeah,
into Dancing with the Stars, and Sheena wanted to do
that's
that. So then that
when
was the
Sheena cried
problem.
about Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, this is what I care about. I care about this. I want them to sit in a table and talk about how this came about, how Sheena thought Ariana should have turned it down or whatever she was thinking. I don't know, like these are the stupid fights that I'm like, because this is like what's relatable, I think, because that's a fight
Yeah.
you would have with a friend that you're like, I always wanted this. Why would you, And so that's, I think, what I would have been interested in. But yeah, I mean, I guess we have the Valley now. So I don't know if that's a
There
win.
I guess so. So coming back into Summer House after watching part 2, let's do a glow or no glow, fun little things. Okay,
Okay.
first thing, Lindsay's tan, glow or no glow. There's a lot of glitter. There's a lot of stuff happening there. As a Miami girl as well, what do you think about that? Fake tan.
It's insane, but I actually think she really can pull it off. So I will say glow. I think it was also Lara Schoenhaus from Sub that's and or Carrie, I can't remember who said she kind of looks like a drag queen. And I was like, absolutely, but somehow she can pull it off. So glow.
She's giving Cruella de Vil drag, and we're living for every second of it. And when she asked Mia, "How do my tits look?" I'm like, and she's like, "Fabulous." I'm like, "Yes, glow. This is Lindsay Hubbard. This is, pizzazz." I love
I
her.
love that she's wearing the revenge dress too. So I think it all kind of goes really well with her. If it would have been someone else, maybe no, but with Lindsay, I think she could pull it off.
It's a glow.
Yeah.
So Amanda's hair bun, controversial. Glow or no glow?
I'm gonna say no glow, and I think, to be honest, I think it's like whatever. It's like it's very Amanda. It's blah. It's like it
Mhm.
doesn't move me either way. But I think because we're all kind of hating on her, everyone's just fixated on the bun. I don't think it looks horrible, but I also don't think it looks great. And this is, this is a reunion where all eyes are gonna be on you. Like, let's put a little bit more effort in the hair. But I would say no glow, though I don't completely hate it.
Yeah, I think definitely no glow, but also no glow to the amount of attention this is giving, like online. I
Exactly.
think
Yes.
I'm like, guys, we have bigger fish to fry. Let's talk about other things. I don't give a fuck about the hair bun.
I
This is her.
agree.
We know her. It just, as you said, exemplifies everything that she is, which is lazy
Mhm.
and giving nothing. And like
Yeah.
as a Latina, I could never. I could
But that's
never.
what I'm
Mama, we're doing
saying.
3 hour hairs.
3-hour
Like,
hair, and specifically in this specific reunion, all eyes are on you. People hate you already. Might as well just show up with like an insane look so people can be like, yeah, she's still a bitch, but damn, she looked good. Like that's what I would
yeah.
have wanted if I was Amanda. But clearly she's like, I don't care. And she just like did her hair in the dark or something.
I mean, I live by the motto, antes muerta que sencilla, like
No, 100%.
before dead, like no, first dead, then like basic,
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, I could never, like, as a Leo, I'm like, you're a Leo. We don't claim her. We don't claim
But
her.
that's the
Ella and
thing.
I are in shock.
But see, you see Lindsay and Amanda, and I think they're both wearing something that represents them so well. Lindsay's like crazy, over the top, look at me,
August
ba
Leo,
ba boom. And you have Amanda like, meh, I'm just here for.
July Leo, which I don't want to give that to July Leos. They're also lovely and they have
Wait,
tons
is
of good
Lindsay
ideas.
a July Leo or an August
No,
Leo?
August Leo, of course.
Okay, okay, okay,
Like
okay.
myself and
That
Kyle. I
tracks.
mean,
Okay,
the fire. I mean, come on.
love it.
Okay. May has showing up, glow or no glow, as a FaceTime appearance.
Glow, absolutely. It shook me. I was just telling you, I just finished watching it, and I had seen some things online, but I don't know, somehow I forgot. And towards the end, when they cut to Ciara kind of calling someone, at first I was like, wait, is she gonna call Paige? Like, who's she calling? And when
I
she
thought she was
popped,
calling her mom.
I
I'm
know.
such a lying bitch. I'm like, she calling her
And
mommy.
I know, and then when she popped it, I was like, "Damn!" I'm very somehow, to me, Miha seems like very interesting to me, like because she's like this very mysterious figure. Like we don't know that much about her. So the fact that she showed up and like I heard her talk for the first time, I was like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Damn, she's hot too." I'm like, my first impression of her was like, "Damn, she's beautiful." How
Me
the
too.
hell can he pull all these women? I don't understand it. So
I
for me, it
mean,
was a
is the D
glow.
that good? Like, is
Well,
the
according to Mia from Southern Hospitality, yes.
that was? Oh my god, I love Mia. She was like, "Sorry, divas. Sorry that I,
I
sorry
was
that
like,
I
"I
hurt
forgive
you."
you. I forgive you." Honestly, if I looked the way Mia does, I would sleep with half the network as well, to be honest.
Girl, I mean,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous. Okay, Jesse Solomon's music career, glow or no glow?
So, I think before watching this episode, I probably would have said no glow because I'm like, "What?" But then he got really emotional about it during the reunion, and you know, it is true. I think it was Kyle who was saying like, we put ourselves out there to do the show, but like some of us have like other passions, and I was like, you know what? He's right. Like that is his actual true passion. Like I don't think he wants to be a reality TV star. I think he wants to be a musician, but it's easier to be a reality TV star. So I do think I will say glow because he's actually pursuing something like that's
Oh,
real and wholesome and earnest and that he actually cares about. Would I would he be in
consume.
my Spotify rap? Probably not. Would I go to a concert? Perhaps, just to kind of be with the community, with the Bravo girlies. But you know what? Yeah, I think anytime, especially a man, because we have like so low expectations for men, but especially a man when they do something that they're passionate and like actually love, I'm like, okay, you know what? Go for it. At least you're not doing something bad, you know?
For the moment, yet we don't
The
know.
bar is in hell. I know.
I'm gonna be a bitch and I'm saying no glow because I'm like I heard him singing and I'm like, what the hell is it? This is like some James Blunt impersonation.
He's trying to be what Michael Bublé.
Michael
That's what people are
Bublé,
saying. Yeah.
Michael Bublé, and oh yeah, like broke Michael Bublé. I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
take him
Yeah.
seriously. I can't take him seriously. I'm such a freaking hater. And I do get that, like, he is being vulnerable and it does suck. And it's someone that's like putting a podcast out there and it's terrible to just put your like thoughts and creating content, which is something that I absolutely cringe all the time that when I'm doing it. I give him kudos to that for that because he's really going for it. But it's a no glow for me, dog. I'm like, every time.
Fair. I will say the act of him doing it is glow, and then the actual
Oh,
music is no glow
content.
because I'm not a fan of the music, but I'm a fan of his pursuing it.
Now I'm gonna say, justice for Jesse Solomon, in comparison to Rich, the Rosie's wife in Real Housewives of Rhode Island, doing a Frank Sinatra impersonation, I prefer Jesse Solomon singing over whatever the hell was happening over there. The
Oh my
travesty
god.
against
Oh my god.
Sinatra, and
I
I
saw
love Frank Sinatra.
I saw someone on Threads say like if my husband was a Frank Sinatra impersonator, I would simply not tell anyone. And I was like, yes, same.
Absolutely, freaking lutely. I'd be like, we're not discussing this on the show,
You
okay?
couldn't waterboard that information out of me. I'd be like, don't know who that man is, never seen him in my life.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Like for me, the hottest thing in a man is like I'm not interested in reality TV. I don't have social media. I don't want to be a part of it. So I'm married to a scientist, for God's sake. So I will be like, yeah, no, no, Rich, no. The
I
panties
love
are
it.
on after that performance. Like the vajayjay is dry, girl. So okay, so
I'm
to
done.
close it up, Levi's Bailey's invisible friend,
I'm dead.
her blink and you miss it appearance, glow or no glow?
Um, I'm conflicted. I'm gonna say no glow because I took notes and I think one of my notes was like, oh my God, Levi's still there. I was like, I feel so bad. So okay, no glow on Bravo for doing her dirty like that. Not on
What?
Levi.
Why would you do that to her? Like,
I'm like, you already edited her out of most of the season, which whatever, fair. Like production will have its reasons for doing that. But I'm like, then why would you continue to humiliate her and bring her to the reunion for her to be like, hi, Andy. And then the next time we see her, she's like, bye, Andy. Like she didn't say anything. I
no, it
thought
was
she was gonna
basically
get
like
into it with like Dara or like, I don't know. I thought there was gonna be like a reason why she was there. And
smoking gun while she's there. I'm like, oh, she brought something. Wes
I thought
was
she's like,
fucking
I
her
actually
too.
saw Wes. Yeah, I thought I saw Wes and Amanda kiss at the. I don't know. I thought she had like something, but no.
Me too. Something to justify her. And also like, okay, why don't we just cut her out entirely? You know, like let's just
Exactly.
oh my God.
I
It
felt
was
bad
a
for
no
her.
glow.
So no
Oh
glow for Bravo for doing that to her,
yes,
but
her
yeah,
poor girly. Like she paid, good money for her glam. And I hope she
yeah,
did something with
probably.
it. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
hope
I
so
mean, that's
too.
expensive. That's
So
expensive.
expensive.
Okay, so thank you for that. Let's get into the reunion recap now. Like 30 minutes in because we love
I love
Bravo and
it.
we're just like,
I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about Bravo.
honey, you never need to apologize to talking about this. I mean, this is our
Okay,
excuse to we don't have community in Paris and
we don't have.
Lyon.
We're trying to build community over here.
Okay, give us a break. We're trying to find our people. So,
Yes.
opening thoughts. People are saying this reunion was the West show without West. The guy is saying nada, sip, nothing. Uh, and we see in the first moments what really sets Amanda off to get up. And she's saying that it's been embarrassing to talk to Ciara, that it was embarrassing to her to talk to Ciara and say, I'm having these feelings, etc., etc. And I made out with Wes, and Mia like kills it and say, yeah, it is embarrassing. And that was like, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of it. I need a moment. And she walks off. And basically, she's wearing a swimsuit with like a piece of cloth. I realized
Yeah.
then. I'm like, oh, okay. So there was not a lot of budget on fabric. What do you thought of that? Like her walking off and the reaction of the people on the stage.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting. I also kind of caught I have some notes and I the first thing I wrote was LOL, Lindsay called West a pathy, and
Oh my
pathy
God,
is short
yes.
for pathological liar. She's
You're a
like,
pathy and
West,
we
you're a
believe
pathy.
nothing.
And
You're a pathy. And I'm
I
going to
was
use
like,
that.
Lindsay, what are you saying? I love it. Pathy sounds like, I don't know, like such a cute pet name. So I love that. We start off with, well, it ends up when Ciara is saying, actually, I think they're going to work out because Wes needs a woman who's basically going to be not the main character, who's going to not check him and let him be the star of the show and basically be mute. And that when she said that, that's when the eyes started watering. And
That's right.
I think it's because, I mean, again, I don't know these people, but I am assuming it's because it hurt a nerve because she knows it's true. And
Absolutely.
she can't cop to that because she went, and I think it also, I think at one point, maybe it was Andy who said, "Okay, you went from being in the Kyle show to the West show."
Whew, that was
And
rough.
I think all these things being called out, she kind of is maybe realizing, yeah, I went from being like second fiddle to Kyle, who's like the star of the show, everybody likes him, he's charming, life of the party, to like the same thing but like in a different font and like maybe 10 years younger. And
And
so
worse.
yeah, and worse. And so I think all of those things kind of really, really struck a chord with her. And that's, I think, where she had to like get up. And then the fact that she got up and left, I mean, I'm not shocked. I feel like happens in like most reunions nowadays. I thought it was very interesting that Wes just stayed there
Sat
and
there.
they had to be like, hey, you need to, why don't you go get her? And I loved when all of them were like, I almost got up. I almost got up. And Mia's like, I gotta be honest, guys,
Mommy.
I didn't get up. I almost didn't get up.
Mia is
So
MVP of this reunion. She got her contract like the minute she walked in, like renewal, boom, let's go. And I also loved Lindsay saying, I mean, having to push West to go, but also saying this is bullshit. I've been put through the ringer in these
yeah,
reunions, and I've never gotten up. And even Ciara saying like, yeah, and she had like Paige as after her. You know, she had like full people
she
like
had a full
Kyle
couch
going.
after her. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not like Amanda, you're getting the soft treatment in a way because Kyle is not even going in on you. He's protecting you. So you're not even
exactly.
getting the full heat and you're walking away, which just shows what you say. Like she can't take it. And after you do what you did, first of all, I have had a problem with her because she's not taking accountability in true honesty. Like she was scoffing, she was saying, fuck off, Ciara, blah, blah, blah. So now you're crying. I just felt like that was very manipulative and just victim mentality and like centering myself and also infantilizing my situation. And I just hate when people do that because if you shit the bed, just own it. I would have loved if she would have walked in like making out with Wes, and I'm like, yeah, I did that. I'm
Exactly.
sorry, but I'm standing here 10 toes down and like, let's deal with it. Yeah, Ciara, sorry. You
Yeah, if you're
know,
gonna be the villain, be the villain. But I don't think she sees herself as the villain, which is why I think
no,
she's acting like, "Oh my god, guys, I'm just a victim. Why are you screaming at me?" And you're right. I think the interesting thing is like the only one that's really quote unquote going after her is Ciara, and rightfully so. Lindsay is sort of also, but Lindsay's more like, I am actually trying to
Wes,
protect you. I care about you. Like, it's more like, yeah, I think Lindsay's more like, I hate Wes and he's gonna fuck you. But he's not saying I hate you, Amanda. The only one that's really going in with like the zingers is Ciara, which I'm like, yes, and you deserve it. Kyle is protecting her. So to me, I'm like, you can't even take the person who you fucked over being mad at you. But I'm not surprised because I've never seen, to me, Amanda has never read as someone who's confident to stand up for herself, or like you said, to be like, yeah, guys, I'm so sorry, I fucked up, I was horny and I fucked West, or whatever like she wants to say.
she
I
has
would
no
never see
backbone.
her, no, she's not backbone. And even instead of sitting there, because I will say, and not to give any credit to West, but at least West is just like sitting there quiet, which I don't know if it's worse or better, but at least he's not like standing up and leaving for 30 minutes, and he's just like nodding and nodding and nodding. She's like painting herself to be a victim of these people when I'm like, no, you fucked up and either sit there and apologize profusely or sit there and shut the fuck up. One of the two. Or like actually stand up for yourself. But getting up and leaving is kind of cowardly and is 100% the attitude that I was expecting from Amanda. So I'm not shocked.
I thought it was quite interesting that they asked, Wes, why aren't you getting up? And he's like, you guys are gonna like comment about me if I get up or I don't. So I choose to stay here instead of going after my girl and checking in on her. So it's like, if people are still gonna turn you down no matter what you do, why wouldn't you choose to support your person?
Because he doesn't care about her.
He
Because
doesn't, and that was
Wes,
so
like,
telling.
we'll talk about it later in the because multiple people bring it up later in the reunion, but Wes only cares about how he looks and how he's received or perceived. And so in that moment, his mind was what would piss the audience off less in his mind instead of
Mhm.
like, what do I want to do? Do I want to get up and go comfort the person that I allegedly care about? Or do I want to sit here so I don't look worse than I already do? And he chose the second option, which is insane. And it's insane that it took 4 people telling him like, "Hey, you should really get up and go comfort or like see what's up with her."
Kyle even gets up at a point and they're like, no, Amanda's coming back. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So also we see KJ saying like, what really hurts me is I've been through this. I see how this hurts people. This happened in my family. My dad was also a pathy and I see it in you, Wes. And the way that Wes is reacting to this is like media trained by like AI Xanax induced. I don't know. It's insane. Like, I am sorry that you feel that way. And we will have a discussion later on. Press star for reserving a meetup on my Calendly link. It's insane. It's devoid of any emotion. But I think he's just trying to be like, say nothing, just eat it, eat the shit, say nothing, give them nothing, and get through this. But he's not thinking of I'm atoning, I'm having a discussion, I'm living in the moment. No, he's just like, I'm gonna eat shit and then I'm gonna go have a burger.
Because that's what he thinks is gonna make him look best, not because that's what he feels. Like with KJ, because I think it was even KJ who brought up the conversation they had about race, where
Yeah,
I think West tells Amanda like, "I see you" and blah blah all this
Ciara,
bullshit.
yeah.
And yeah, sorry, Sarah. And so again, I think when KJ talked about that and then he brought up the conversation about race, I think the only reason that West actually said something back is because he's like, oh fuck, he's talking about this conversation, so I have to address it, because if I don't address it, then I'm gonna look like a racist, crazy, like
Mhm.
insensitive person. And I think that's the only reason why he turned to him and said that, PR, like media trained response. I think again, I think his strategy slash his plan for this reunion is, let me sit here and say the least unless I absolutely have to respond. And when I do
Mhm.
respond, it's going to be vague and I'm going to like apologize. But I don't think he actually means any of that stuff, because he didn't even text KJ when the shit hit the fan initially. He's
That
not
was
thinking
so
about these people.
stupid. Yeah, that
He's
was so
not
stupid.
thinking
Like
about anyone.
I only texted the people that are high billed on the show. Basically, he's saying like, I'm only texting the stars, KJ. Sorry that I brought you into this mess that has
Sorry that
spiraled
I'm the friend
into
who
your
brought
mental
you
health.
onto the show, but you
Yeah.
are actually not that important.
Yeah, and this has like spiraled your life, and now you had to deal with a tons of stuff that probably have triggered a bunch of stuff, and you had to go into the hospital for this. So, like he's not even thinking about that. And it's super interesting what you say about his tactic. This happens later on, but he talks to Amanda and tells her, just apologize, apologize,
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah.
Don't get snippy. And he basically giving her his playbook. He's like, do you want me to jump in more? Which is basically cueing her for to say, no, don't worry, I got this. No, that's what they want. But he wants that response for her. You don't ask people, hey, do you want more support, Danny? Do you want me to
Yeah.
help you? No, you just show up and do it because that's what you're supposed to do. But that's not how
But
he's
that's
thinking.
but that's what I'm saying. If you're in a relationship with someone, whether it's like a romantic relationship or a friendship, and someone says something emotional to you, you're not gonna respond by saying like, "Okay, great. I see you and I hear you. Let's book a lunch so we can." You know what I mean? No, like that's not how you would respond to a friend who said something very deep to you, or your partner who you're going through all the shit with. You're not gonna be like, I didn't get up because people were gonna get mad at me. Like, what? No, get up. Like,
Eh,
shut up, you know?
Crazy. I think Ciara also calls them out on that discussion and says they were saying the buzzwords that they knew would
A
appease
hundred
me,
percent.
that would calm me down, but they were not intellectualizing or understanding what they were saying and how it would affect me. They were just telling me what I wanted to hear, and now I see that, which is perfect.
And
That's
it's funny
basically it.
because when that conversation aired, everybody was like, "That was amazing." Everybody received it so well. They were so supportive, which is true. I do think when we watched it, and I do think they were receptive, and obviously they didn't shoot her down, and they were like they let her
But
speak.
I
They
thought it
listened
was
to
weird
her.
that West immediately pointed at himself and said, my family had also racist comments and we were called blah, blah, blah. And that's why I had to go and do a New York Times article. I'm like, bullshit.
No, I
Bullshit.
agree, but I do think like before the Scamanda,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
did look
thing,
better.
people were like, well, because also we're comparing it to other shows, which is I also think why it looks a little better because in other shows they don't handle these conversations well at all. So I think people were
Terrible.
like, these white people are amazing, you know, and comparatively. And so then, but now obviously for me, and I'm not a black woman, so I can't really speak for Sierra's experience, and nor I would ever try to, but for me, it's like if I was Sierra, I would be like, "Thank you for saying that, and thank you for hearing me, but actions speak louder than words." And obviously, you neither of you respect me or care about me.
I
Period.
don't. Boom.
So, yeah,
Thank you for nada. So
exactly.
another, now that we talked about KJ, I think a great moment was when they brought up Dara.
Yeah,
And she is an important figure in this because she dated West. She's now with KJ and she has seen the dynamics. And she kind of described West like modus operandi, like very good in a very like interesting way. And she waits until Amanda comes back to say it again and
yeah.
reiterate the message. I have the message here. What she said to Amanda is like, what I would reiterate to you is that the biggest pattern in his life is that this is the West show and it will always be the West show. The biggest concern of his consistently is being well liked and well received. And he doesn't prioritize treating the women he's linked to romantically with the same respect he does anyone else in his life. And I just foresee him for a very long time waiting someone who will mold and fold and fit into his life without excuse or complaint. And if it's up to you to decide what's worth sacrificing or what kind of person are you going to be for him. I mean,
I
whoa.
know. I think it was Sarah or Mia. One of them was like, "Damn, girl!" Like they were like,
They were
they
like,
were
mm-mm-mm.
just,
And I think Kyle was like, she's so well spoken. I'm
yeah.
not used to this.
I was gonna say, I think she put it in a perfect way. I think Sierra and maybe Lindsay were saying that earlier in the reunion, but in a different way, and maybe in a little more like attacking way because they were obviously
He did.
pissed.
Yeah.
And I think Dara just came in and kind of said it in a way where I was like, I just got here, so I'm not pissed yet. Let me just tell you what I think. And so she just put it in a way that made like contextualized it a lot, and also because she has her experience dating West, it also I think gave her a lot of credibility for what she was saying. She wasn't just saying that because she doesn't like West. She was saying that because I lived it. You know, she was saying I was that girl. And I think her answer was like, and I don't think you're gonna change for Amanda. She kind of just started saying that, like, I'm so sorry, but I just really don't believe that you're just all of a
It's
sudden
not
gonna
going
change
to happen.
for her.
And she also, even before Amanda comes in, and this is crazy, she says, Wes likes to be perceived as a well liked guy and he finds women
Mhm.
expendable. And
Expendable, yeah.
Wes says, I agree. And I was like, oh, dude. So that's all we need to hear. Like, here. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
you admit it. That first, like Brian Moylan said in his Vulture recap, step one, admitting a problem. Now let's move into fixing this because you have a problem, dude.
Yeah, I think what she said hit hard because I think she's saying things we're all witnessing and seeing firsthand, but also she lived them. And I think she put it in a way that she didn't even, I mean, she did, obviously she insulted him, but she didn't use any, like she didn't insult him. She was just like, this is what he does. This is how he operates. This is what he does to women in his life. And this is probably what's going to happen to Amanda also. And I think that was the way she kind of set it up was perfect. She didn't raise her voice. She was just, again, she's like, I just got here. I'm not pissed yet. Like, I'm just gonna say it very calmly so you all hear me. And then I thought it was very interesting. I thought I mean, obviously, I don't think I wasn't expecting her to get on stage and be like, "I think he loves her." But I think there's something about her and her history with West coming in and saying like, between the lines, he did that to me also. That I
Exactly. And it
think
will
that
happen
was
to
very
you.
exactly, and I mean, it happened to Ciara. There's like multiple examples just
It
on this
happened to
stage
Meija,
alone.
it happened to
Yeah,
Ciara, it will happen to you there. And I think Andy also gears taking off, like backtailing out of that, like piggybacking on her and saying, Amanda, you watch what happened with Ciara. You're listening to what Dara says. What do you think is different? Like, why do you think this relationship will be different? She's like, well, I've had some conversations
yeah,
with
I know.
Wes, and we agreed that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
That's not the
exactly.
real world, mama.
No, it's really insane to see her jump from Kyle to Wes because it's like the same kind of it's not the same type of toxic relationship, but it's like almost the same kind of thing where
At
she's
least Kyle has like a freaking full-time job. Like at least there was a motivation. I'm not excusing Kyle. He talks to women horribly. He needs to address that. But it's just from and I Guatemala to Guatapeor. Like what
yeah,
are
no,
we
no,
doing
literally.
here? My respect to the people in Guatemala. I don't want to be offensive or anything. Love you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm
No, really crazy.
like, why would you, after years of complaining, I don't want to be with someone that just wants to go out and party and drink and like get drunk. Now let me go and be with a fuckboy from like complex that's doing blow in a St. Patrick's Day parade. Like what?
Who treated one of my best friends like garbage.
Like shit.
Like that is to me the craziest part of this whole thing. Like the fact that she saw firsthand being one of Sierra's closest friends how this man treated her. And now she's like, I can change him. I can fix him. What,
I
girl? You
mean,
couldn't even fix your own husband for 10 years. I'm sorry. Like, what do you think? I don't know. So to me, that's a crazy part. I mean, I don't feel bad for her, but a part of me, I think I said this. We talked briefly when the scandal broke on Clashes, and I was telling Gabby, my co-host, who has no idea what Summer House is, has never watched an episode, and I
poor
was
thing.
explaining it to her. I know, I was explaining it to her. I was like, I don't want to excuse any of her actions because I think she fucked up and she knew what she was doing, but I do think Amanda is going through like breakup psychosis where like, you lose your mind for a little bit, but hers kind of like lasted a little longer. And now she's kind of like, I'm in this, so might as well kind of thing. But I don't think there's any way in hell where you make this decision and you're like, this is good. I think she was going through like breakup psychosis and she was like, Wes is going to fall in love with me. And I'm like, no, girl, wake up. So anyway, it's really fucked up. The whole situation is crazy. And I do think Amanda is before the reunion was never confronted by these questions, and now that she's being confronted with the realities of who West is, that's why she had that breakdown and had to like leave the stage for like what seemed a long time, because even them, they were saying like, where is she, because they even started the
Yeah.
segment and they're like, let's just start without her, and I'm like, what is she
Yeah.
doing?
And backstage, she says, it's really frustrating. They're making me feel really fucking stupid for trusting you. And it's like, yeah, girl, because it is, So
But
basically what
that's
you
why
just
I'm like, why are you surprised by this? What did you think was gonna happen?
exhibit A, like we've seen this before. There's no follow through. There's no, like, there was no plan of action or thinking about this
And
or
also,
taking,
Amanda, you were the person thinking Ciara was stupid for forgiving West just this last season. You were the one saying, like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea. And now that they're questioning you, you're like, "Ah, they're making me feel stupid." Yeah, no shit. You remember how you saw Ciara when Ciara forgave him. Well, that's 10 times 10 what they're doing with you.
I think at that point, she was already developing feelings towards Wes and they had something going on. So in that moment, she's like, well, I don't want them to get together. That's crazy that you guys are friends. This is insane. Because she was
Yeah,
definitely, something was up in there.
I
So,
literally wrote the moment he moved that chair and sat behind her, that's when she fell in love with him.
oh yeah, she's like, and when they ran into each other in that hallway, she was like, the moment you pull that chair to next to me, oh my God.
I
Oh
think
my
that's
God.
when she was like, that's when it really like hit her.
Clicked
That's when she was
in.
like, I love you. obviously maybe not out loud, but in her head she was like, I think she always maybe had a crush on him, but like a very maybe innocent crush, like because actually I was looking at Kyle and Wes, and not that I think they look the same, but they're kind of like the same type of guy, like blonde, like, well, not sporty, but like into, I don't know, like I don't know, there's something about them that's like the same kind of like white
Alpha
man.
male.
Yeah. And so to me, it's just like obviously Wes is younger, but that's it. And so to me, I'm like, I could see how she could maybe have a crush on him earlier, even like a couple years before when he started. And I think when it became an actual emotional connection with
Affair.
feelings was when he stood up for her. Because, like Andy pointed out, it was the first guy in the house, because the girls were always on her side, but this was the first time like one of the guys stood up for her. And I think that's when she's like, wait, that's amazing that you like defended me. I'm obsessed with you now.
I think that's a cop out because Carl has defended her. She's been defended by other men, even in that situation. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that this is her like rationalizing things and not seeing that no, there's been other men in this house that have defended you at some
No, I
other point.
agree.
But she's
I
just
agree.
zeroing in into what she wants to see and how she wants to perceive herself and the situation. And I also think that she was like, this is my way out. I can't leave Kyle by my own accord. I need someone to jump into because I'm that weak and I need that comfort, like that lily pad situation. And I think Wes was
No,
like, Amanda's going to get a glow up.
yeah.
Amanda's going to get all the brand deals. I'm hitching my wagon to that. And I'm gonna make Kyle look like shit because he also already looks like shit, and I'm gonna be the white
Yeah.
knight shining armor, situation.
100%. Yeah. I mean, when I say it's the first guy who defended her, I think like in a physical way, like move my
No, no, no. I get
chair,
what you're
be
saying. It
like
was very like
performative.
physical motive, like element there. Like
It
he
was
moved his
honestly,
chair.
yeah, it was a little dramatic. I was like, what is this? A novela? Like, calm down. Like,
I felt a bit of a telenovela thing, and I was
he's like,
like,
don't look at her. Look at Lindsay. Shut up. Who are you?
yeah, I'm
Let
like,
the
oh my
girls
god,
fight.
you grow some balls
By
now.
girls, I mean Kyle.
I've never seen this guy back anybody ever in the house, not Ciara, not nothing. And so I was like, oh, interesting. But another thing that really got me going was Amanda upset that Carl and Lindsay monetized on the breakup story and did that ad. That was wild. I'm like, girl, if you didn't want people to monetize on your breakup, don't have a huge scandal and don't fuck your friend's ex.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, again, I'm not shocked. It's so funny because all of the responses were so on brand when he asked like Ciara, Kyle, Amanda, what did you think about that? And of course, Amanda's like, I gotta be honest, I wouldn't do that to them. Like annoyed, and I'm like, of course, Amanda's gonna be annoyed. And then Ciara's like, I don't give a fuck. Like basically, like, shut up, I
And
don't
also,
care.
that's the bar for her. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do a brand deal, but I would fuck your boyfriend.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
of
fuck your
course,
boyfriend. What are the lines here? What are the lines being drawn
100%.
on friendship? This is so hypocritical. And also, it's like, honey, you didn't do debate club. I can tell because the
I also
whole
think I also think I'm like, if I was Amanda, I would have been like, well, obviously I didn't love it, but I get why they, like if she would have been like a little more like, I didn't love that, but I understand why they did it. Like if she would have been understanding of because if she was on the other side of things, she would have monetized also. I think it's just because again, she's victimizing herself. She's like, why are people mad at me? Oh my God, you're mad at me and now you're making money out of it? Oh my God, how
she's
dare
shocked.
you? Yeah, and so to me that's why I'm like I'm not surprised because it was like a really funny like three-way reaction. Sierra's like, I don't give a fuck. Kyle was like, at first I was concerned, but then I was like, that was kind of epic. And then you have Amanda who's like, what would you do this to me? And so it was really kind of on brand. And then
For
I loved
everybody.
how that really pissed Lindsay off. Lindsay after that, she was like, you know what?
Don't
Fuck
mess
you.
with the
She was
check.
just,
Don't
yeah.
mess with the bag.
But she was right. She was like, listen, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like I've been like taking shit from people for 10 years. Like she didn't say this, but I think between the lines she was saying, I fucking earned this
Yeah, and
Uber Eats
I got
commercial or whatever it
broken
was.
up. My engagement annulled, like
On
canceling my
camera.
wedding in front of the cameras without me knowing. I think I can do a little Uber Eats ad.
And I
I
love
think
how
so.
she got and then she said the most epic thing. I can't help what Kyle says on his man on the street interview. I can't help what he says. Who he's like
Nobody can
kissing on his
control.
tippy, and then he goes, "Who he's kissing on his tippy toes."
Kyle was so bothered by people referring to his tippy toes. He just couldn't. He chimed in every time, like, it wasn't my tippy toes. If you look at the frame, the pants were long. And she was like, I'm like, Kyle, come on now. Megan is like 3 heads like higher than you. Like she's like
I
so
was
much
just
more taller than you. She was wearing heels. Like, it's okay, my dude. You're a short king and we love you. I
I
also
just love Lindsay. To me, was on fire in like
oh
such a,
yeah.
like, to me, she was like trying to, like, she was funny, but she wasn't trying to be funny. And I love how like Kyle was catching strays every 5 seconds. So I just thought that comment was so funny. She was like, I can't help what Kyle says or who he's kissing on his tippy toes, and I'm like, oh my god, incredible, incredible. I love her.
Iconic. And I
Yeah,
loved also Carl chiming in and saying something very, very cutting and smart. And he was like, well, of course I was concerned about Kyle and Ciara. And he kept
yeah,
reiterating, like, Kyle and Ciara, basically saying, I don't give a fuck, Amanda, what you think and what Wes thought about this. Like, I
of
don't
course.
care. And I thought that was very smart because it's like you're getting your digs in, like Mia, but you're not stabbing her outright in the back, but you're getting your digs in and she's getting her lick back as she should. So I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
I also thought then the whole marriage bombshells about Kyle and Amanda, super, when you were saying that Kyle's catching strays, I think the biggest one was, I don't hate going out. I hate going out with him. Oh,
yeah.
you could tell. No, but like telling Kyle that he's not fun, that's woof. That's really hurtful.
Yeah, and like again, this isn't an instance where like if the scandal hadn't happened and she was talking about this, I think a lot of us would have been not, maybe not on her side, but we would have understand her perspective because I do
We
understand
understand, yeah.
what she was trying to say. Like, I don't like going out with Kyle because he always gets too fucked up and then it's like he makes the show or I have to take, like, I understand that, but I think there is, and you've mentioned this multiple times during the reunion, they're so hypocritical because they expect these things but then they're doing the complete opposite. Like, she's saying, I hated going out with Kyle, but then you love going out with West because he doesn't get drunk. Like, let's
He
be
doesn't
real,
get wasted.
he
Like,
obviously does, or maybe allegedly, according to all the blinds online, he's like a big cokehead. So I'm like, it's the same shit, except like you just never liked Kyle, or I don't know what it was. You never forgave him for cheating on you before you got married. I don't know what it was, but if you hated going out with Kyle, you should have never married him because that's a big indicator of how you're going to spend your time. He loves to party. And if you don't like to party with him, then you're not going to do anything together. And so to me, I'm again, like, a part of me understands what she's saying and even like kind of relates to it in a way. Like, I would also maybe would hate going out with my husband if he
if he's
behaves
getting
that way.
drunk and he's like being belligerent and then
But
being
then
a
he wouldn't be
complete
my
mess.
husband.
Yeah, and I'm
Like,
like, it's
period.
done. I
You
wouldn't
know?
have married Kyle Cook. I wouldn't have chosen Kyle Cook as my significant other because guess what? He ain't gonna change, and that's part of his DNA to be a messy drunk.
Exactly.
Should he address his problems? Yeah, I guess so, but it's not happening, Amanda. So why would you marry him? It's insane. And
Yeah.
then switch to West is crazy. Like, and everybody's like, you hate going out. So of course, this is another case of her like morphing into whoever she's dating, whoever she's with. The way that she's dressing, the way that she's acting is very much giving like I am, cool girl, West vibes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of sad. Also, the part of when they talk about how Kyle's basically was pushed into releasing the statement without even talking to his family. That was like, wow, she had a plan. She wanted to go to the west side.
I
She was
literally
like, I'm
wrote,
outside.
I go, oh my God, they told Bravo PR before they told our families. I was like, whoa.
These people are insane. I could never. I could never.
I do think, again, I'm like, it's so crazy the switch up with Amanda. She went with, like, she never had a voice in her marriage. She never expressed these things. And then all of a sudden she woke up one day, and even we see it a little bit in the city where she's like, I'm moving out. And he's like, oh, okay, let me think out. He's like, no, 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 I'm not asking you. I'm moving out. And all of a sudden she's like, I'm releasing the statement. I don't give a fuck. It's like, she's like, I was waiting until everybody got back to the office from winter break or whatever, and I'm like, this girl had her mind made up. I do think she had her mind made up before the summer even started. Like, I think this was something that was going to happen, whether West was a part of it or not. That was going to happen. I think West was like an
A
incentive
catalyst.
to move quicker, but I think she was done, 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 done. And I think
Absolutely.
the city was her safety net, the show, because she was like, I can still be on TV if I divorce Kyle. Whether
And
if
I
it
get the
was
money.
just Summer House, she was like, I need to stay with him because they're not gonna ask me back. They're gonna ask Kyle. This is Kyle's show. And so I do think the reason it all worked out was mainly because she had the safety net of the in the city. And yeah, I don't know. I just think there's something very chilling and like dystopian about only thinking about, let me wait until people get back in the office so we can tell Bravo PR and release a statement. And I'm like,
Oh,
what?
cold,
Yeah, that was wild.
cold, cold as ice. I feel like even in the city, you can tell her wheels are turning, and she's like, I'm trying to give everything to myself. Like, oh, we're just gonna separate, but I'm doing like we're really working on ourselves. And she was already out the door. And it would have been perfectly fine because when a woman decides she's gonna leave you, she's gonna leave you. It's just that now finding out that she had the whole West situation and that she wasn't taking into account like Ciara's like you planned out so much of this, but you didn't think, hey, because I've said it 500 times and I'll say it again. If she would have come to Ciara and been like, hey, I'm having feelings for West. This is happening. I feel like shit. What do you want me? Like, this is it, It would have been a completely different topic. Instead of things waiting until things fully developed, it's just a big betrayal and like such a childish way to handle everything, even your divorce. You need to
It's
have
yeah.
some respect with like even the parents of your husband, even if you don't give a fuck.
Is that she was on the path and like she was about to have her Ariana Maddox moment and she fumbled the bag and now she's like the most hated person on Bravo. And to me that's wild that you chose all of this for West. Like what? And so that's I don't know. Amanda is such an interesting no, actually that's a lie. She's not interesting at all. But she's an interesting person to kind of like try to dissect because she does like things that make no sense. And to me, my conclusion is she's like incredibly spoiled and immature, and she's never really
Mhm.
had to like fend for herself or do anything for herself. And she's always had someone that's like quote unquote taking care of her. And so I think that's why she's making all these like reckless choices now that she doesn't really have that, now that she's on her own. And that's why and again, not to infantilize her or say she doesn't have any agency because she does, but that's why she's making horrible decisions because she has no sense. She doesn't know what's right or wrong. She's just doing whatever she wants.
Yeah, and you can tell in the city when she tells that story about I cuffed myself to the banister in my house because they were gonna change it
Yeah.
just because I was so stubborn and I hate change. I'm like, that says exactly who you are. And every like the
We
way
know,
you
girl.
return.
Yeah. We know you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like you're when I have mommy papi and that's it. And that's your brand. And you've
Yeah.
never had to do anything. And she's so shocked that she's being even asked to like pitch in and pay rent and do all these type of things.
Exactly. I don't know. She is like to me, like I would hate having a friend like her. Like she's the nightmare kind of friend that she's also the friend that cries about her husband to you for 10 years and you're just like, leave him. That's not right. That's not okay. Cause like that's the thing. She's valid in so many things that in many of her complaints, because she also like reveals that Kyle apparently cheated on her. And so all these things, I'm like, yes, you were right on that, but now you're wrong because you completely fucked everything up and
Yeah.
caught you were caught in a lie. Your credibility is shot. Nobody believes you because all you do is lie. You've lied about multiple things. They even lied when remember when they separated, that they did a few interviews where they were like, no, and she did that video where she was like, I'm in Gemma's house, like all these things. So I'm
Unnecessary.
like, girl, you are you we're talking about Wes being a pathological liar, but Amanda has been lying to us for a long time also. And so to me, that's the other thing. I'm like, I just don't believe anything that comes out of your mouth because your credibility is shot with me. And I think with most Bravo fans right now.
Yeah, she's just been lying through her teeth throughout the whole thing. So nothing that comes out as genuine or and also another thing you talk about like the Kyle cheating, they find out like figure out like he made out with someone. He's like, make out isn't cheating, is it cheating? It's like, no, Kyle, it is, but
Also,
go ahead,
falling
yeah.
asleep on a fan's house would have been my breaking point. I would have been
I
like,
mean,
sorry.
so, there's so many breaking points. Like there was no way I would have married someone that is like I just found out that he made out with someone and it's like, here's your ring, let's get married. I'm like, no, it's not happening. I don't need to get married that badly. Like I
But
can have my whatever, you know.
exactly. I'm like, they were doomed from the start. And Amanda, in some sense, knew what she was getting herself into, but she did it anyway. And then instead of moving past it, she just always had resentment built. And that's why it never got better. It just got worse. And so I don't know. It's interesting because we're looking at it from the Scamanda perspective. If none of this would have happened, I think we all would have been on Amanda's side about everything. And I think this
Oh
is
yeah.
the best thing that could have happened to Kyle Cook because otherwise, this he would have been the villain of the season.
And that's why I keep asking myself, why would you do this? Why she's the personification of fumbling the bag in such a like ridiculous way for like the D, for that D, that
I
messy,
mean,
smelly D. No, no, no.
I think it's because what a lot of them, I think Ciara pointed this out a few times. She has like really low self esteem and she's lazy and she's like, she was craving attention and validation from a male figure, and that happened to be West. And I think she values men above anything, even friendships.
Yeah,
And she was like, he likes me. He thinks I'm nice. He thinks I'm cute. Okay, fuck Ciara. Who cares about
yeah.
her?
Who
I'm
cares
gonna
about
go with
her?
this. Yeah.
And in every move, I still want to know like what made you go to that game and start making out or force act like you like me, Wes, and all that while Sierra's having her glamour cover. Like, why release a statement saying, "Hey guys, I'm really, really hurting. So, but if you see me outside having a couple of martinis, like,
That was
why?
wild. That was wild. I remember that.
Ma,
I think there's
ma de
a
por
again,
Dios."
I think there's a lot of things that they've done that don't make sense, and I think ultimately it comes down to, like, Wes wanting to be liked and perceived well. I do think at a level, Amanda also suffers from that illness where I think she wants to be maybe she doesn't care as much as Wes, but I do think she definitely wants to be a little like, "Okay, well, who cares? Hasn't everyone done this? Like, what's the big deal?" I think she's
She wants to
really
be a cool
downplaying it.
girl for
Yeah.
sure as well. And I think her, there was no way that she was going to stay inside the house because Wes needs to be out and popping all the time. And she's like, I need to be with my man, watching him like a hawk 24/7 because he's the dick be wilding out. So that's going to be, she's signed up her life of a watchdog. She's a German Shepherd right now.
This is Kyle 2.0. It's like I can't there's already rumors, there's all these like different girlfriends coming out and saying we
Mia
were dating, we
Summer
were dating, we
House,
were
Mia
dating.
Southern
Yeah.
Hospitality, Sally Carson, like everybody has been through the West train.
Yeah. So then she's like, okay, well, I gotta be out with him because if I'm not out with him, they're gonna say he's dating this other girl. And I'm like, this is the same shit. The only thing is like, okay, maybe he's a better drunk, so you like going out with him more than you like going out with Kyle. But that's really the only difference. So
That's it. That's what uniting your relationship that you know he and
yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean like longevity, you know, let's
No, absolutely not. And it's really funny because when well, not really funny, but interesting. And a few people pointed this out online, but then I saw it and I was like, it's true. When she took that long break and she came out, I wrote, Amanda is zoned out. Like she was like looking at the
sunk
distance.
out,
I was like,
zooted
"Girl,"
to the
yes.
gods.
And she kept on like biting her finger and doing weird stuff with her
Yeah.
hands. And she would like so yeah. She was like
And
that.
West too. West was like Quija loca, you know, like when you're and we know what
I
that's about. We know what that's
yeah,
about.
that's what I was trying I mean, I never want to like I don't like allegedly, and I never want to say something that isn't true, but they both seemed that they were on some sort of
Beta
beta
blockers,
blocker,
cocktails.
Xanax, mood enhancer. I don't know what it was, but they were both. And specifically, I noticed it more in Amanda because at least at the before she left, she was fighting back and she was like getting snappy and like being kind of a bitch to Ciara. And towards the end of the reunion, she was completely zoned out. She was just like this. Like you could tell she
She
was
had to be like
either
up
this
the dose.
disassociating or yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if she took something, but she was definitely completely mute unless she was spoken to. Unless Andy asked her a question
Yeah.
directly, she didn't speak.
Of course, this is all alleged, and we're just having fun about this. Like, use your prescriptions carefully. We're in France, so we don't have.
We
It's
don't
a whole
have
different
those
ball
over
game
here.
around here. Like, I have to call the cops to get a Doliprane. You know, it's
Yeah,
like paracetamol. So, it's not the same. But I mean, you can always get what you want if you try really hard.
of course.
But I thought that was very telling. I think at the beginning, like Wes was doing all sorts of weird stuff with his mouth, and Amanda was like in the Peacock extended version. She's like, "Stop doing that! Stop doing that with your mouth!" And it's
Yeah, I
like,
saw
this
that.
is gonna be your life. This is gonna be your life now, and it's so
He was
sad.
like
So
burping. I don't know what he was doing. It was so weird.
so crazy. And okay, so any final thoughts? Oh wait, oh my god, girl, 4 years no sex. What the fuck?
I don't want to say that that justifies any of Kyle's behavior, but it definitely makes a little more sense now. Like he obviously was extremely frustrated in many levels and he didn't know how to communicate that in a healthy way, and instead he would get like completely drunk and like have a blowout and call her a bitch, which is, again, I'm not saying that that's right, but now I understand where the anger and the frustration was coming from. So, and again, not to excuse any of his behavior, but then I'm like, when she talks about him cheating on her, I was like, well, is anyone surprised? I
I
was
mean,
not
I'm
surprised even
sorry, but
before
I'm
hearing that.
cheating. I'm cheating. If we're going 4 years without sex, sorry, unless you have a condition, unless we're going through some shit. 4 years is a bit much. It's a bit much for me as a Dominicana. I'm like, yeah, no, no, no. I
To
don't
me,
know.
it's just like, to me, it just says that it says what we kind of could see and hear for the past however long they've been married. I'm like, these people hate each other. There's absolutely no chemistry. There's no love. There's no
There's
respect.
no intimacy.
And there's no intimacy. There's no attraction. There's nothing. And yeah, to me, I'm like, how, I mean, and even Kyle, like, how do you stay in a relationship
And
that
why
long?
would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? I'm like, guys, this is the writings on the walls. I mean, this is
Yeah.
really, really bad. I knew it was bad, and I thought everybody was always like exaggerating, you know. And now I'm like, oh, this is whoa, this is tough. I mean, you
I think, yeah, I think it was crazy. It was crazy to hear that, but I'm also like not super shocked because I think he said drunkenly and like his drunk rants, he said something like that. So I'm not like super shocked. I just think, yeah, to me, it just again reiterates that this relationship made no sense. And it's crazy that the two of them stayed in it as long as they did. Cause I'm like, what is the
yeah,
reason? Is it the show?
unnecessarily so. Unnecessarily
Yeah.
so. So, any final thoughts? Anything you want to get out of your chest that you haven't? And it's been amazing just talking Bravo, but
I
let me know
know.
anything you need to like let it rip. This is your
I just have
moment,
like
Danny.
I just have a few notes that it's just like I was watching the reunion and taking notes because I knew we were gonna recap it, and I just wrote Kyle is so bad at apologizing because he kept on like apologizing, and he would say he would like start off in a good way and then he like completely like ruined the apology. So I just thought that that was really funny.
And
I
Andy had to
love
be like, no, 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 no. It stops
yeah.
here. The apology
Yes,
stops
stop.
here.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny because he doesn't realize he's doing it. He's just so bad at apologizing. I also said I wrote laugh my ass out. Lindsay airing him out about Sally was so funny. He's like, don't lie, you made out with Sally.
And Ciara was like, and I thought it was crazy. Told Amanda, hey, Kyle was fully
Yeah,
making out with someone. That's
yeah,
sick. And
yeah.
it's like another example of how Ciara was there. Even Lindsay, how Lindsay has always had the back. Like nobody's here defending Kyle and saying he was perfect. So Amanda has
No,
no like justification. That was
no.
that was
But she
insane.
doesn't care when other women do it. She wanted a man to do it because she cares more about male validation. So that's, I
Uh,
think,
so I think that's where it comes down to. Like
yeah.
Frank Petula must have fucked her up real bad in her childhood or something, because
Not
mentally, I mean,
Freud. Let's talk
mama,
about
it comes back to that. It's all about
it's
psychology
true.
and who we are. That's why, as parents, we are like right now so freaking like
I
stressed
keep
out because I'm
I
everything
know.
I do. I'm like, oh my god! Like I was watching like Real Housewives of Atlanta and Rhode Island with Olivia because she was sick, and then every time the women start fighting, she would like applaud, and I'm like, oh, oh.
What,
What have I
she's
done?
like, more.
Ah, like that, like more. And she said like more mas. She didn't say it that way, but I was like, oh boy. Ooh. And I'm like, oh.
I
So
mean, if raising a TV lover is the worst thing you can do as a parent, I think you're good.
no, I think she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. I'm gonna
I think
play
you're
like
good.
Amanda's highlight reel and be like, don't do that.
Don't do that. Whatever she's doing, do the opposite.
Do the opposite. Your mom is Dominican, so none of that.
Yeah.
Like that, her house not being clean, and like you having to call. Imagine me calling my mom and having to be like, "Hey, can you come over and clean up?" My
That
mom will
was
kick my fucking ass. My
why I
36
know.
year old ass. She would
That
kick
was
it.
wild. That was wild. And then when we see it in the city, you're like, yeah, the house was a mess. But the other thing I wrote was West's suit is so wrinkled towards the end when they're going back to the dressing rooms and he's just like walking up to her. And I'm like, this man looks like a hot
Trash.
damn mess. Like, I don't
Swamp
care if
ass.
the dick is amazing. I would have been like, I would have seen him and I would have been like turned off by this. Like you again, but then sometimes when I see the two of them, I'm like, they actually make sense because Amanda has her stupid bun. He has a wrinkled suit. Like, they don't give a fuck about how they look. Neither of them.
Yeah, they don't want to be composed. They don't want to have like composure
It's
or be
so
demure.
weird. It's so weird. And I just thought it was really funny how, and I'll close out with this because this is how it ends also. But I thought it was really funny how they're kind of like strategizing in their dressing room. Like Wes is
Oh,
telling Amanda, like, cry on stage or whatever. Don't do that. They're kind of like almost like sharing notes on like this is what we should do next, which I thought was really funny. So they're strategizing on how to go about like the third part of the reunion. And on the other dressing room, they cut and it's Ciara calling someone. And I thought at
oh
first, oh
God,
my God,
yeah.
I thought, is she gonna call Paige? And she calls Meija and Kyle walks in and they're kind of, and I remember like when they're kind of they have like a little bit of banter, Ciara and Meija. And I just wrote, I thought that was so cute because you could tell like they care about each other, or I mean, in
Yeah.
a weird way because they're put in this position together, a position that neither of them asked to be in, but somehow they're kind of like moral support for each other because they're both going through this very
Going through
public
the
scandal
situation
together.
and they're
Yeah.
checking in with each other like, hey, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And it's really sweet. And it's also kind of like sad that women have to come together when men are dicks,
Yeah.
basically.
But I thought it was cute that Ciara was like, let me give you the rundown. This is everything that happened. And I just thought there was like for like one moment there was like a very light, like girlhood moment between the two of them, even though like the situation is so fucked up. So I really like that little banter and that like Ciara kind of walking her through this is everything that happened. And I just thought it
And
was very, very interesting that the when they were cutting between the two dressing rooms.
the
And
juxtaposition of the two dressing rooms
I think at one point Wes tells Amanda, I think it's gonna get a little better. And I'm like, ooh, you have no idea what's coming. And
in
yeah,
what
just seeing
world.
them strategize, it looked so bleak. Like they just looked so unhappy. Like Amanda's just like covered up in like a blanket, like
Her fake
barely
Lola
touching her
blanket.
food. Yeah. And it was just so like the vibes were rancid in that dressing room. And at
Bleak.
least when you cut to like Ciara and Meija, it just felt like this warmth, like interaction. Like they were just like, how are you doing? How are you doing? Like, I don't know. It just felt very cute. That's like the best way. I don't know. They were like, you could tell that they were like, well, we met through really unfortunate circumstances, but we're here for each other because no one understands what we're going through more than the two of us, essentially.
Two
So I thought
dope
that that was really
queens.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
thought that was really, really cute.
and also, I feel like Meha doesn't have like a voice in this, unfortunately, because she's not part of the show, and she's been completely also interesting. I don't know, but I think Meja Moreno, it's giving woman of color, it's giving minority.
100%.
So another woman that is being, put to the back burner and being replaced by a white woman and Amanda. So kind of tracks for West, but also she
Yeah.
being given a voice through Ciara and Kyle and put her relationship out there. Like she's saying that West and her were dating while West was in the house during the summer shoot. And that she was putting his furniture up, living in the house, go sleeping with him before Watch What Happens Live, which we have confirmation because he brought the horse died and he said that
Yeah.
happened. So, and that he alleges that, oh, I'm not showing you on the show. I'm not saying that I'm in a relationship because I'm gonna get fired. And Kyle saying, well, that's bullshit. He's obviously saying that to you because you're not on the show, so you don't know what's real or what's not. When
Of
in
course.
reality, we would encourage you to be on the show and be shown, like Sabrina Bell, you know.
Sabrina
So
Bell.
Sabrina Bell, I mean, that I felt so sad for Meija because it's like you're going through all your pain, you're going through all of this emotional distress, and you can't speak out about it. Like she doesn't probably want to be seen as someone that's like money grabbing or fame hungry or something like that. So she's trying to be like very intentional of how she like talks about it. Like she hasn't popped off. She's not in the Daily Mail like giving interviews or like men on the street like Kyle did, 3 hour men on the street random encounter. So I kind of felt bad for her in that sense. And then, as you pointed it out, so happy that she has like Ciara and people like saying, oh, by the way, this whole person that you just like blocked out and you're not even giving her space. Like her relationship is not even playing out in the timeline. He's diminishing her presence. Ugh, I'm just like disgusted with him.
Yeah, it's fucked up because apparently they've been dating, or they were dating since February 2025, so even way before the summer. And so for her, and again, and that's why I think it's good that they have each other, her and Ciara. I think they both feel like completely mind fucked. Like I thought this was the reality, and now I'm watching the actual reality, and it's completely different. So I think I feel bad that he played with her that way. And it's true that when you're a reality TV star, you can blame a lot of things on the show, and the person that isn't on the show is not gonna know any better because he could just be like, hey, the producers told me that if I say I have a girlfriend, I'm not gonna get a second season. And she's gonna say, yeah, of course, I don't want you to lose your job. Pretend you're single or whatever. So I
I
feel
would
really
have
bad
been,
for
I
her.
would have been respectfully, I would have been like, I'm out. But also I'm 36 years old and I don't think Meja is, Because I would have been like, lindo, con este cuento. I'm uno de astronauta ahora, dime uno de vaquero. Tell me a cowboy story now, baby. Mira, a otra con ese
No,
cuento.
I
No, mami.
totally agree, but I also am like, I don't know. I do think what people say is true. I think Wes is really good with his words and he's a really
Manipulative.
good liar. And so I think he probably, I mean, if they started dating in September, they don't film until like what, July? He had like a few months to really kind of
That put the seed in. And she also,
plant the
these
seed
people are
in.
young. She also, like, as you said, unexperienced, doesn't know these things, charmed by this guy that's in New York. She's in Missouri. Oh my God, this could be like such a cool guy that it's very easy to fall into the many traps of Wes Wilson. West TD,
Yeah.
as he's been called in London, apparently.
Uh-huh, exactly. And so I think I feel really bad for her, and it must be insane to watch all of this back and be like, wait, this entire time we were dating, we're in a serious relationship, but I guess we weren't because look at all the shit that's coming out now. So I think that must be, and that the fact that is public, because being cheated on is a mind fuck no matter what, but being cheated
Yeah.
on and that is like a national scandal, international scandal, some would say, that must be like a completely different level. So I think I'm kind of glad that she and Ciara have each other to be like, we're going through this really insane experience together. So at least they have each other. But I hope she gets her time, and I hope in the third part they speak for her. And I think he's just probably gonna downplay or deny the relationship with her, which
He's
is
been
like what
doing
he does.
that. He said that that was just a couple of hookups diminishing
Yeah,
the relationship. So I'm glad that she got also, even if all we get is her and the FaceTime. I think that already is like huge. I hope we get more of her.
me
And I
too.
think I'm looking forward so much to this part 3 reunion.
Oh, me
And
too.
it's so good. We should have planned like a watch party in Paris. I mean,
I
could
would
we?
love to. I mean,
Mm,
when is it? Next Wednesday? Let's do it.
next Wednesday? I mean, if we could do it during the day and Olivia's in the daycare, maybe I could.
Come for the day. Yeah, why not? But we would have to we would have to do it on, you know what? We could. Let me talk to some people.
Okay, and let me go into Train Italia and look at the
Yeah.
Wigo. Okay,
Yeah, no, I think that would be great. And I do think there's like a small but mighty community here. I think we can wrangle
let's
some people for
unite.
sure.
Let's
Yeah,
unite.
let's do it.
You
Yeah.
know, Okay, this has been amazing. Thank you, Danny, for jumping in. Please tell everybody about Clashes. Such a cool project, such a cool podcast, and
Oh my God,
you
thank you
girls
so
are
much.
fab. I love it, and the guests are
Thank
always
you.
cool. So
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was so fun. I never get to talk about Bravo like
you're
at all.
coming back,
So
Mama. Don't worry.
okay, I'm excited. Anytime. Yeah, we have a Gabby and I, who's my co-host, we have a podcast called Clashists. We initially started it because we wanted to talk about our experience moving to France, moving to a different country, kind of in your 30s, when you're supposed to have your life quote unquote together, and you kind of like blow that up and start over again. And initially it was going to be a culture shock because obviously, as you know yourself, that's something you experience a lot when you move to another country, specifically when you move to France. But then it kind of evolved into more just like culture, like clashes in life, in general, like starting over, pivoting, changing your life, like changing careers, quitting your corporate job to pursue, freelancing, like having a baby, like all these
Yeah,
experiences that
motherhood.
happen in life that blow up your life as you know it, and you kind of have to pick up the pieces and start again. So that's kind of what we talk about, and we talk about different things that happen in life that give you that feeling. And we also have a lot of guests that come on and talk about their life. So we recently had Paige Mueller, this another American in Paris, who she actually was a reality TV producer. So I was very obsessed
Mm,
with
mm.
interviewing her,
Watch that
and
episode,
she,
guys. There's some insights.
yeah. So she,
Listen,
so
sorry.
we interviewed her, and she was really interesting. She used to be in reality TV, then she quit that because she couldn't do it anymore, and she started a handbag collection. So she's a designer and entrepreneur now, and she moved to Paris last year. So there's a lot of, and she's in, I think she's 40, so she's like late 30s or 40. So again, kind of like starting over, moving to a different city, jumping into a new career when she was like quite established in like the reality TV world, and moving from LA to Paris to pursue a fashion career in when she's 40. Then we also talked to our friend Leah, who's an artist, left a corporate job to become a full-time artist. So we talked to a lot of people who are doing these things that are just like have the quote unquote normal life, corporate job, stable salary, all those things. And they're like, actually, I'm not happy. Let me do this thing that actually makes me happy, whether that blows up my life or not. We're gonna figure it out. So those are the latest ones. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What the French call una reconversion, la reconversion de ta vie.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
guys, if you love Danny and if you don't love her, please go check out the pod, subscribe, hit the 5 stars review. It's super important.
Thank
Share.
you.
I mean, this is like putting yourself out there, creating content. She's a new mom, and it takes a
Yes.
lot of time and effort to do these type of things. The
It
episodes
really
are like really
does.
well researched,
You know
and
what? I was gonna say, I don't think people realize how hard it is to have a podcast. And we
yeah.
talked about this a little bit the other day, and it's like it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And I think that's what people think anyone can get a microphone and start a podcast. And there's a lot of things that go behind between those two things. So uh
So
kudos
much
to
work.
you as
So
well.
please go and show her some love.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for joining us. And do the same for Gossip Girls while
Yes,
you're
I was
at
gonna
it. Okay.
say. Exactly.
They
Support
know
the
better. They know
girlies in
better.
podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Bueno, thank you so much. XOXO, Gossip Girls.